Welcome to True Health Tuesday, and the truth will set you free. Okay, today I'm here with my brother, not brother in spirit, Dr. Tony O'Donnell. Okay, we're going to talk today about how the body regenerates, and that's huge because people don't know. I mean, we're so stuck in this COVID myopic view of the world that we forget that the body has been here for thousands of years. Now, one of the things that you'll see up there is that human lifespans. How long are people supposed to live?
Well, in Ireland, about 56.
Okay.
Asia, a lot different.
This one here, the difference between lifespans and okay, here, let's go on to this. First, because there's some stuff that we can talk about, some stuff we can't talk about. So this part is the censored version that we hope the Ministry of Truth will allow. Dr. BVIP, this is going to be where it's going to be uninterrupted, where we have our content, because we now are living in an environment of censorship. Okay, now, Extreme Health Academy, please support those guys. I'm with them every week, and we do a webinar every month. But it covers our legal aspect. According to the FDA, I'm sorry, I thought I heard angels singing. Okay, according to the FDA, okay, remember, this is like the voice of God. Dietary supplements, because we're going to be talking about it. Dr. Tony developed a huge line and is going to go into details on it. But in the censored environment that we're living in, this is the law. Dietary supplements are not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or alleviate the effects of diseases. Okay? It is not legal to market a dietary supplement product as a treatment cure for a specific disease to alleviate symptoms of a disease. Now, these are the supplements that we offer here, part of the supplements. But think how crazy this is. Your body is self-regenerating, self-healing. Now, this is Janine Calment, okay? 122 years old. How did she make it to 122 years old?
And she was a smoker.
She was a smoker. Well, she stopped smoking at 115
right.
because she felt it was rude to have other people light her cigarette.
Can you imagine what would have happened had she stopped or never started?
Well, she'd probably still be here.
Right.
But I mean, think of this. 122 years old, hunting, fishing, playing, everything. So what's the difference between somebody that makes it 122 years old and somebody that doesn't? Then we have the book, The Blue Zones. Okay, and we know that purpose is central. Your passion, your purpose for making a difference in lives, that's going to keep you going way beyond 120.
I hope so.
Okay, but also these people, and not all of them were teetotalers, okay? Some of them would drink wine that they made, or some would drink vodka that they made. But you're talking areas around the world where people had simple patterns. They had different diets, but they lived over 100 healthy.
Specifically the Hunzas, the Vilcabandins, the Azerbaijanis, these people lived tremendously long lives. Very simple way of eating, not too much red meat, no smoking of any kind. And like you talked about, they made their own alcohol. So a little bit of alcohol for celebration at a special occasion. Mm-hmm. That's what they did. And they actually fermented and cultivated their own food and grew their own little plot of land and cultivated the food off of that. So they lived very simply. To live simply, to simply live. And that's what we're all looking for.
Wait a second. You mean the Hansa didn't have like the blood pressure and cholesterol drugs and the type 2 diabetes
didn't
drugs?
Have the ding-dongs, the donuts, the big gulps, the French fries, the soda pop, the pizza, the Pepsi, the Prozac. They didn't have all that kind of stuff. They lived wholly and fully off the land. Prayer was very important. This is really important as well that you and I talk about a lot.
Yeah,
it's so important that prayer and meditation and connection to spirit, God, whatever that it looks like for you, that's really, really important. They have done some major studies at various universities around the world, and they found that the people who had a purpose and meaning and were connected to spirit, God, whatever it is for you, lived longer and were happier overall. My mother was tremendously happy, prayed all the time, and was the happiest person I know.
Now, that when you look at this, why do some people die early? Okay, because everybody here knows people in their 20s and 30s that are sick as hell. Okay, and why do people live strong and dynamic? And it has nothing to do with aging. It has to do with how the body builds itself. And now every human being, we go through this process. We break down and build up, break down and build up. every red blood cell in your body is brand new every 120 days. So that if you build, now maybe this is too complicated, and I'm going to go really slow. If you build cells faster than you break them down, that's called health.
Health.
Okay, good. Okay, now if your body is breaking down faster than you build up, that's called what? A lack of health or a dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so it can't be that simple. So like when you're talking about that buildup and breakdown process, okay, that's an oxidative metabolic process. And that's why Dr. Tony is here. He's an expert in deactivating these free radicals. See, the way the body works, your body's going to use inflammation to heal. And except inflammation creates free radicals to eat that could damage healthy tissue. Antioxidants, or if you can deal effectively with oxidative stress, you master the tissue production. And telomeres, this is like the plastic end on your shoelace. Okay, your cells are constantly producing proteins, constantly, and it uses this DNA as the blueprint. Now, the ends of that DNA to keep it from unraveling are the telomeres. So if you have long telomeres, you can get a lot of replications of that. And what does this article say? Oxidative stress shortens the telomeres. Oxidative stress shortens
Cigarettes, ding-dongs, donuts,
medications,
dietary fats, saturated
anything
fats, processed foods, enriched foods, poor connection to spirit, poor self-esteem, not drinking enough water, not enough hydration. All these things cause a massive shortening of the telomeres. And when you shorten the telomeres, they break off. And hence the reason why you have massive oxidative stress and rapid aging.
That it seems like way too simple. Okay, so check out the slide that we got now. So if your body lives long and healthy by building cells faster, and oxidative stress you can't avoid, you don't want to avoid it. You want your body to break down and build up. Okay, and antioxidants and nutrients help your body with that process, so it allows your body to regenerate healthy tissue.
Correct.
And if you take crap that breaks tissue down faster,
that's the standard American diet, SAD.
Then you die early.
Correct.
Okay, so you noticed how we skirted the law there? I'm trying to bring the FDA up to normal human thought. Okay, Doc, antioxidant, just really quick, because we're going to go through all the supplements. Yeah. Okay, like up here, you're looking at apples, you're looking at cilantro, grapes, and everything. And what did you do to put them in one product?
Well, that's a good question. So I had the opportunity to meet some of the longest lived people in the world, and they had a six-pack, they had beautiful teeth. I was afraid to take my shirt off. And some of these people just looked absolutely amazing. And I learned that the further away we get from the land, the sicker we become. And the closer we stay to the land, the healthier we become. It's as simple as that. So they were eating primarily rich green leafy vegetables that are included in the Radiant Green superfood formula, and you'll find that in the catalog. And so I took a collaboration of all of the green superfoods from around the world, from the longest lived people in the world. This is what they're consuming. I knew what the sick people were consuming because I was one of them, and I grew up in a family of a lot of sick people because we ate a lot of saturated fat, bacon, eggs, and sausages, fried bread. Family all smoked cigarettes. I didn't smoke. I survived. I don't know how I survived. So this is what my driving force was. So green foods are the highest on the DNA chain, and green foods are loaded with chlorophyll, magic word, and chlorophyll is the blood of plants with almost an identical molecular structure as hemoglobin, which is the blood of human beings. When I learned that, it was all over. And basically what that means, Doc, as you well know, when sunshine hits plants, it turns them green. It creates this magnificent energy, this life force, very much like what he does when he treats these patients and puts them back in balance again when they have a subluxation or their circuitry is not working right. So these green foods oxygenate the blood. The Nobel Prize was won for this in 1939, 1941, proving that bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an oxygen-rich environment. You put those ding-dongs and donuts and big gulps in there with cigarettes and pizza, Pepsi, and Prozac, you're going to have a sick body. You're going to be out of control.
We had an 8-year-old kid in here with a 40-ounce big gulp of soda. And
his
it
own
was
zip
full
code
of soda. And it was literally a third the size of his body. And he's drinking it. And you could tell, he was getting the sugar rush like crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wanted to ask the parents, like, how's that experiment going?
Yeah, this is the first generation too, where children will die before their parents. We have so much we want to share with you. We just got a short amount of time.
And that's one of the things, because we're going to talk about blood health. in the second half because there's certain medical procedures that are being done that's damaging the blood. Now, this one here, pomegranate plus. Think of all of the antioxidants and phytonutrients. When you look at plants, okay, they've got different colors. Do you know why? Why is a blueberry blue?
Pigmentation.
Well, pigmentation, and it developed that because it had to fight viruses, funguses, bacteria. They're called phytonutrients.
Got their own defense mechanism.
Yeah. When Dr. Tony raises his hand, be careful because he's a black belt. So if he raises his hands like this, I'm going to actually duck. I'm only a brown belt. So the pomegranate plus, okay?
By the way, you did an amazing job on the slides. He's hired to do all the slides from now on.
Yeah, I've got a couple of.
You got a couple of great ones.
I got
so
some,
color
some
is
practice.
crucial in the fight against oxidative stress and degenerative disease. I read that. I was watching a television program one day, and there was a doctor on there, and it said, "Oh, Dr. Lansky and Dr. Newman, they were discovering that red-colored superfoods act as a rotor-rooter for the arteries." And I thought, wow. So my father died at 56. I was 21 years old. I'll be 63 next month. And I thought, oh my God, this is so sad. My daddy died. Then my brother just died recently, as some of you know. He was smoking 30, 40, 50 cigarettes a day. So I had purpose and meaning. And for those of us who have purpose and meaning in one's life, then you're going to live way, way, way long. So these red and green superfoods, they're sister products that are combined together. There's 30 different red superfoods from different parts of the world. And the lycopene, the phytonutrients, the indole-3 carbanols, all of these massive antioxidants, they come into your body. They're in a powder form. And when they're in a powder form, they get into the bloodstream very quickly. And guess what they do? They go to work to knock out those free radicals from the air we breathe, the food we eat, the water that we drink, and the toxic big gulps that little kid was drinking.
And look at when you guys are shopping. So it's not just the supplements, okay? Look at the when you go to the market, okay, you might be getting the same vegetables, the same fruits, the same meats that your parents got. Okay, you might see, what is that weird thing that looks like a squash that looks like a star?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it yellow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, there's a black carrot. What is this stuff? Okay, so look for color. Each color is a phytonutrient. But this one, we are under incredible amount of stress. Now that's stress, okay, when we're talking about your body rebuilding cells. So if you build faster than you break down, that's health. You break down faster, that's called sickness. Physical, chemical, and emotional stress throw you into this stress state. That triggers the automatic nervous system. And that fight or flight, that sympathetic dominant state shuts blood supply down to the gut. And the gut is where your digestion is. This is where you're only alive because you're able to eat proteins and get the amino acids. The fats, you get the fatty acids, and carbohydrates, the usable sugars. So if you're in a chronic state of stress, you have this stress metabolism. And has anyone ever heard of adrenal fatigue? It doesn't exist. Okay? It doesn't. Chronic inflammation will cause the adrenals to work harder. Okay? Under stress, they're going to produce not just cortisol, but adrenaline, epinephrine, norepinephrine. The adrenals are going to work a lot harder. Okay? And this is why people are misdiagnosed with a thyroid issue when they don't have it. Now, dealing with stress and supporters. Now, we've got a number of doctors here. Dr. Russell is a big fan of Adrenal Plus.
Right, exactly. And there's a reason why. Because of the herbs. By the way, 86% of the U.S. population hardly eat any fresh fruits and vegetables, yet the United States Department of Agriculture tells us we should be eating 13 servings every single day. We're just woefully low. So adrenals, you get adrenal burnout. Of course, we're all being stressed out because our world has changed dramatically in the last 24 months, and it's not looking much better. So you want to find a way to reduce your stress. This is why prayer and meditation is really important. I mentioned earlier about my mom being so zen all the time. I thought, why is she so happy all the time? She had the rosary beads, and I've got a pair around my neck now, and my mom has more rosary beads than all of the Vatican combined. She just has them everywhere, hanging up everywhere. I have them in my house as well. So adrenal and adrenal complex conditions are rampant right now in the United States due to the fact that there's physical stress, there's emotional stress, there's physiological stress, there's a mental stress, there's financial stress. So we've got to find a way to find balance. So how do we find balance? And how do we cope? This is why suicide amongst young millennials has skyrocketed in the United States, because they don't know how to cope. So when you go to India, they use several herbs. They use ashwagandha and rhodiola, and this provides a level of comfort. It provides a level of awareness, and it helps people deal with life stressors on a daily basis. It's very, very difficult to handle what's going on with us because people are losing their jobs. They're being forced out of their work. They've been forced to get a vaccine. They've been forced to do things that they never had to do before. And how do you cope with that? This leads to heart attacks. It leads to high blood pressure. So the adrenal support caps are really awesome. We also have adrenal support drops, which you put under your tongue. You can definitely see and feel the difference. You will not be stressed when you start taking it. So these herbs are off the charts amazing.
One of the things that we do, and I'm old school chiropractor, okay? We don't diagnose disease because there isn't a disease.
Right.
Okay, the body is always adapting to stress. And those adaptations in the ignorant world that we're living in are called a disease. I do not recommend you taking this product for adrenal fatigue because adrenal fatigue doesn't exist.
Right.
Okay, you don't take it for something. Okay, you don't take vitamin C for the cold.
Right.
I'm sorry, you don't know what a cold is, do you? Okay, you don't take vitamin C for COVID-like symptoms. Okay, for Omicron. Okay, yeah, no one has a cold the last couple of years.
Right.
But you take this for your health.
Right.
So if you know that you are dealing effectively with the stressors, then by God, this is a good supplement.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't get this, then look at the other aspects. What other things can you do to help your body adapt to those stressful circumstances?
Support your immune system.
That's the key. That's the key. That's why I like it's Adrenal Plus. I mean, this is support stuff.
And Dr. John said something earlier about inflammation because it's running in my head. Inflammation can be good. The problem is if you have too much inflammation, then that creates a cascade of free radical damage. And if you don't get a hold of it, then it can actually cause a lot of other problems. It's like a runaway train. It's like your kid jumping into your car and taking off it and doesn't know how to drive. Yeah, these things happen in the body. So you got a cascade of problems. So you got to stop them. And this is what these herbs and these herbal remedies do.
That's why one of the analogies I use is there was a torture called the death of 1,000 cuts.
Right.
Okay, and they're small cuts. They're not enough to kill you. And in your body, you can repair 50 cuts, 100 cuts. At 1,000, your body's damage exceeds its ability to repair. Okay, that's what we're going into a society now where the damage, the physical, chemical, and emotional damage is exceeding your body's ability to regenerate. That's why we keep talking about emotional health, physical health, neurologic health. Now, prostates, okay, this is huge. How many guys in here have a prostate?
We all do. Yeah.
It's a trick question, okay? Or at least had one, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. The tough part is we're exposed to so many estrogens. Pesticides are estrogen based, and then you got endocrine disruptors and that new car smell.
Dairy products,
plastics, hormones,
plastics.
Okay, here's a shocker. Animals don't give up milk unless they're pregnant. So what do? You give them a hell of a lot of female hormones. So they're producing this hormone-laden milk is toxic and poisonous. And prostates are swelling up like crazy. Then sedentary lifestyles.
Saturated fat is a huge issue.
So if you're looking at those French fries and that sausage up there and saying, wow, it's good, I can't even look at like a McDonald's fish sandwich, which I used to think was amazing. But now I know it's just chemicals.
Yeah.
Processed meats, rancid oils, all of this stuff. Have you been exposed to this? Yes or yes? Okay, good. There's the Prostate Plus.
Yeah, you look at the Chinese and the Japanese, they consume copious amounts of iodine, a lot of seafood type products, a lot of fish with essential fatty acids in it. There's a lot of this powerful nutrients, phytonutrients that are found in the seaweed. When they consume that, they don't seem to have prostate problems whatsoever. It's really remarkable. The same with the French. They smoke a lot. They eat a lot of pastries, a lot of sugars, a lot of processed foods. They consume a lot of wine, but the resveratrol, the phytonutrients, the proanthocyanidins that's found in the red wine, seems to protect them from cardiovascular disease.
And that's the key. Like these supplements, they're not the only ones in the world. But right now we're in such a toxic, deficient society. I thought that having the guy that developed these would be a benefit. Okay, they're not the only prostate supplements in the world, but I got to tell you, if you're a male living in America and you're not an organic vegetarian that uses healthy, organic, products, and if you're, you're just a normal human being, okay, but not living the standard American diet.
And there's a lot of products that are put together in the marketplace. And the reason why, of course, I do this is because I had so much sickness in my family back home in Ireland. I'm from a family of 11. Most companies just throw stuff together. I can look at the formula, I can look at the label very quickly and see, oh, they've got nothing in here. It's not going to work. Why buy a product if it doesn't work? I wouldn't buy something if it didn't work. I wouldn't go back and buy it over and over. So what we do is we scour the world, we look at what's in the marketplace, we also source the raw materials, and then we look at what the efficacy and the potency and historical use of this particular nutrient. If it has historical use, for example, a lot of the products that we have, we look at the Native American Indians, we look around the world at who uses this and why was it used and why was it beneficial. Then I put it in the product. I have to make that decision so that I know that it works.
I love that. I mean, people have come up and said, what do you think of Ayurvedic medicine? Well, it's been around for 5,000 years
Yeah.
with a really good history.
Yeah.
Modern medical, using petrochemicals and chemicals to make chemicals to alter your physiology.
Yeah. DNA.
Okay, has been around for about 120 years. Okay, it's completely insane.
Yeah.
You're not a chemical-based person. Okay, and there's so many things in here. Like, has anyone in here ever heard of lycopene? Okay, it's supposed to be like amazing for anti-cancer. Well, they synthesized it, they injected it into tumors, and then they took a tomato and injected that into tumors. Found out the tomato worked better.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they went to the scientist and they thought, oh my gosh. And they said there's over 10,000 bioactive enzymes inside of a tomato. We're in their infancy of research. Just know that God put stuff in this, the phytonutrients, the life force energy of these plants, color, there's so many things in there.
The bioflavonoids in particular, we just don't know an awful lot about them, but we know that the further away we get from the land, the sicker we become, and the closer we stay to the land, the healthier we become. That's a fact.
That's why we're starting it off with the people that live over 100 healthy. And this is the closer to lifestyle you can do it. And don't support like the big chains. Look at Farmers Direct. Look at farmers markets. Get this stuff. Now, exercise. If you had a 1960 car, okay, you'd want to not use it. But let me tell you, your body is in constant state of decay. If you do not move every joint every day, if you don't strain your body every joint every day, if you don't elevate your heart rate every day, did I say every day? I'm curious, okay? Look at all the stuff that you can do. Okay, now the people that consistently live over 100, they don't go to a gym. Okay, but you can, except in California where you have to wear a mask, and that's kind of stupid because you're limiting oxygen, and then you got to work out. Okay, so take the damn thing off, the face diaper, and go do archery, go sailing, go running. But you got to move it every day.
Yeah, we call that earthing, connecting with Mother Nature, connecting with the salt water, connecting with the sand, just feeling it and letting it go through your body. And then with your prayer, your meditation, your powerful thoughts, your thoughts make up all your words and actions. So whatever you think, you become what you think about all day long. So you put that good food in, and then when you have that connection, the subconscious mind goes to work to manifest and to bring into your life whatever it is that you want. So love is the overriding factor here.
It is, and that elevates the parasympathetic. Now, this right here is part of my water today, and I have vitamin C in the water. Why? Because I'm using my joints every day. I mean, you start picking up and throwing around people, and that doesn't sound right. But no, it's a professional. But let me tell you, it's really physical to do this. I'm a blue collar doctor. And this right here, the joint support, I like, but I don't use because I have a super healthy diet, okay? And I take supplements, but this one here, I recommend to patients who are in a toxic deficient state, okay? They just are glucosamine, chondroitin, MSM. Those are all fantastic.
Elephants, by the way, have the strongest bones in the world. They're not eating donuts. They're eating plant-based foods. So we put a collection of herbal remedies in there that really make a difference. I don't need to use the joint support, even though I got my 3rd-degree black belt in Taekwondo and I still practice when I can. I did that for personal safety, and I was in the military, so they teach you hand-to-hand combat. I've made fitness pretty much my whole life, and I feel better. I feel alive and energetic. So the herbs that are in here work synergistically at lubricating and providing ease of movement and mobility, because when we get older, this is how we're going to end up. Our bones are crumbling because we're not putting the right nutrients into our body. We're not getting the chiropractic treatment. We're not standing up straight. We're not doing our Pilates. We're not doing our yoga. So if you fill your mind with garbage in, garbage out. So you got to feed your mind with powerful thoughts. You got to pray. You got to meditate. You got to stay healthy. You got to eat the right foods and show up with a smile on your face. And a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So this is brilliant that we're starting the new year this way. You guys are so wonderful and blessed that I get to spend some time with my brother, Dr. John. So I'm thankful and grateful for you.
I mean, just regenerating, knowing that you're in a stress state, getting something that helps and buying it normal. Now, lung pathology, lung function. Every time you breathe in, diaphragm comes down, tummy comes out, your lungs expand. Okay, there's a lubricant inside of the lungs called surfactant. If you're dehydrated, your body can't produce the surfactant, so you get mucus. Anybody want? Okay, now I'm not kidding on this one. This is kind of fun. When I get kids in and they got severe asthma, we're super effective at correcting it. We restore the nerve supply. But people with asthma have 10 times the amount of mucus as somebody that doesn't have the immune. Now, this is kind of reverse psychology. So if you have kids or grandkids with asthma, and they typically have this attitude of a teenager, I'll go in and I'll say, hey, look, this is how you can cause asthma in your body. Okay, so like let's say you didn't study for a test and you want to take a day off and you want to have a little panic attack. Okay, so get a big thing like a frosty, a 7-Eleven Slurpee. So you get the toxic sugars, and that cold will constrict it, and you're going to have an instant problem with the bronchus constricting. You're going to have problems getting air out. Okay, and they'll look at me and giggle and say, or you could drink warm water and that'll relax the smooth muscle and help. But this right here covering the face is completely insane. Okay, now Lung Plus, what do you got in Lung Plus?
So the lungs are as Dr. John said, I learned so much from you. The lungs are the center of the respiratory system, that breathing in and breathing out. That's what we should be doing every single day. And due to the factors that are going on psychologically and physiologically and behaviorally in this country right now, we need to make sure that our lungs are strong and healthy. If you smoke, you're really having a challenge. If you have pre-existing conditions, you really have a challenge, particularly with the situation that's going on in our world right now. So we put marshmallow in the lungs. We put mullein. Good old mullein from Ireland is really good. I mean, it's just absolute hyssop and hops, all from Scripture. We put those herbal remedies, biblical herbs in the product. I have never seen, and I do not boast about any product ever. I've never seen reactions that I've seen in our current situation that the world is in, and our patients that come to our office and online when we talk about how important the lung support caps are. That's exactly what it does. It supports the lungs so that you breathe better. If you have a few extra pounds that you want to drop during the holiday season or this new year coming up, this is an important thing to do because your lungs will breathe better. You'll feel better. You'll move better, just like we talked about the joints earlier. Your ease of movement increases dramatically, and your lungs start to feel better, and you actually can move your body and have a better night's sleep, not worrying about putting something funky into your body like a drug.
And breathing we do a number of talks on breathing. Breathing is one of the best exercises for you. It allows lymph to flow. That little 3-pound brain burns 90% of the body's oxygen. And so, I mean, we literally will teach people how to breathe.
Yeah.
I'll punch them in the stomach and I'll say, okay, blow out.
That's the first thing I learned, by the way, when I went to have my voice trained. I went to a drama teacher. Yeah, diaphragm training, because I was a broadcaster in Ireland. I was on the radio, and the teacher said to me, "You sound like a bog man." Oh, you talking there? No, like that. She said, "I want to train you how to speak properly," and I was so embarrassed. And of course, I was speaking differently than everybody else because you speak to the back of the room, and she said, "You're speaking from up here, young man. You're not speaking from down here." So she taught me how to breathe properly, and this is something we forget to do, and we don't know how to do that. But if you look at Asian cultures, they learn how to breathe properly, how to relax, how to take care of their body. But we have so much tension. We're so uptight, aren't we, with what's going on in our world? So we need to know how to cope. These things are really, really important. So most people do not know how to relax. My sensei, my teacher, is a wonderful man from Canada. He said most people can't sit still for 5 minutes just to learn how to relax. Just sitting still, just learn how to breathe. It's very difficult for most people. If you can do that, you can do 10 minutes, you can do 15, you can do 30 minutes, squeeze it into your day. But we're running everywhere. We're so busy. We have so much going on.
Well, we call this now, because our government has called it the dark winter. Mm-hmm. We used to call it cold and flu season. Right. Is anybody as old enough to remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So for my kids, if you start to get it because you've got a toxic diet during the Christmas season or there's low vitamin D levels, we take a handful of oregano or a handful of eucalyptus leaves, put it in a pot, boil it down, take it off of the pot there, and put a towel over it. Same, just like Grandma would do.
Yeah.
Okay. And then blow it out. That has antimicrobial, antifungal properties. And then forcing that warm air in, breathing helps
Put it as a poultice on my chest.
It works.
I did as a kid back in my home in Ireland. I loved it.
And
Boom, knocked it right out.
Moist heat penetrates 2 inches. Okay. And you figure he's a normal sized guy and his chest is only this. So the heat will penetrate that much. Okay. So hot packs, poultices, all of that stuff works. But take care of yourself. And here's the thing. Anything, and this is one of those complex things, that strengthens your immune system is good. Thanks. Anything that weakens your immune system is bad. Ah, God. Thanks.
But balance is the key. You know, it's all about balance. I do martial arts, as we mentioned, and my sensei, who's a 4-time world champion, Master King from the Virgin Islands, he said it's all about balance, how you move. How about balance? I mean, I used to walk with 2 left feet. I used to walk so silly, you know. It's like going to yoga class. And if you don't get out of your head and get into your heart when you're doing yoga, you're falling all over the place. So in martial arts, they teach you about balance and about movement, just like a dancer. So life is about balance. It's all about finding balance and finding rhythm, and of course, connected with family and spirit and friends and your church and your community. Those things are all really important for a happy, joyous, spiritual, mindful life.
So the supplements that you're going to add to your diet, the food that you put in your body. Now remember, it's old-fashioned, but we still do it. People would pray over the food. They would pray to thank God for giving it to you. And also, this food is going to become you. Now, as weird as it sounds, okay, every fruit and vegetable, why do we keep talking about plant-based diet? And you get people in there, well, no, we're designed to eat meat. You can, go ahead, it's fine. Okay, just make sure they're healthy. Okay, but plant-based diets, it's easier to get the nutrients out of plants when you're in a stressed state. Cancer, hardening of the arteries, heart infection, or heart attacks, diabetes, allergies, asthma, arthritis, Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's, osteoporosis, psoriasis, septic shock, and AIDS. Would you like the key to correct those? Oh my gosh, nearly every fruit and vegetable has some NF-κB inhibitors. This is nearly every fruit and vegetable. If you increase your intake, now it's got to be organic. Okay, if it's in supplement form, great. You know, if you're in the north, you know, you make it fermented, but you can help fight these adaptations to stress. Okay, it's not that complicated. It's actually pretty cool. Now,
and that's but the only thing that most doctors agree on.
yeah, but they're not teaching this in medical schools, and they're not teaching you because there's no billing code to change a human's lifestyle. Okay, now this one here. Okay, when he puts this up and says raspberry fights chronic disease, does it? What is chronic disease? Okay, chronic disease is an adaptation to chronic stress. That's it. And if you're talking type 2 diabetes, you're talking high blood pressure or anything else, would the raspberry, the red in there, the antioxidants, the phytonutrients, help the body's ability to break down and build up tissue? Yes or yes?
Yes.
And so you start seeing this, so you think, well, why can't I just get raspberry, acacia, blueberry, bilberry, grapeseed? You can. But in fact, this is not new stuff. Hippocrates said, what? Let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. There's an Ayurvedic saying that says, if diet is poor, medicine is of no good. If diet is good, medicine is of no need.
Right. Scripture says, I've given you every seed-bearing herb there is. Do not look to the skies for the answers to your health. Look under your own 2 feet. And be careful how you chew the humble grass, for it does not have teeth like the beast. Remember, I was searching as a young man when my daddy died. I was searching for answers to my own health because I was on copious amounts of medication. So much medication that I thought the boogeyman was after me. I ran out of our farmhouse. I can see it like I'm standing here right now. I ran out of our farmhouse and ran through the forestry that was at the back of our house in a terrible nightmare, unconscious state. And I fell into water and woke up, and I had to walk back through those thorns. My late mother spent 2 days taking thorns out of my legs because I was bleeding profusely with my underwear on. I mean, you can imagine what that's like for a 15, 16-year-old boy in the middle of a countryside. So that's what I was exposed to, and this is why I've been on this journey ever since.
Yeah. Now, brain health.
Yes.
Okay. There's certain medical procedures that are forced on people today. We could call it the Voldemort virus. Okay, that's negatively affecting the brains. Okay, negatively affecting blood, and this is huge because in the second half of this, that that is the censored portion. I'm going to actually show you blood sides of people that have had the Voldemort shot, okay, and the end result of that, and what you could do. Now, omega-3s, and a lot of the supplement companies, like none of the supplements that we carry here have animal products in there because it's, some people don't like that, but it's also harder to break down. The omega plus that you have, okay, it's so important in brain and blood function. Okay, now what do you have in there?
Omega-3s, omega-6s, omega-9s, EPA, DHA. These things are all crucial for not only cognition, but concentration and crossing the blood-brain barrier. Not only that, very good for your hair, your skin, and your nails, arthritis, that inflammation that we talked about. We know that inflammation is the root cause of most of our health challenges, too much inflammation, that is, but we need natural inflammation to start healing. So this is why we take this. And people tell me their hair, their skin, their nails have never felt better. Their hair starts to grow like crazy after taking the omegas because it's so powerful, because it hydrates the body and it also cleans up the endothelium. That's a major problem as you get older if your diet has not been good. The endothelium is a real issue for most people because this is your sewage pipe. These are your sewage pipes. If you don't clean up, as my mother used to say, clean up those pipes, boy, clean up those pipes. If you don't clean up your pipes, you don't clean up your blood vessels, then you're going to have an impending event. So the omegas assist not only in, without making too many claims, not only assist with proper hair, skin, and nails, ease of movement, mobility, alongside the joint formula we talked about earlier, but also is tremendous for supporting cardiovascular health.
No, you're still underneath the guidelines. That's why we put up the disclaimer at the front.
I'm on so many television shows. I have to watch what I say all the time.
Yeah,
because I have my lawyer behind me hit me in the head.
and the brain is mainly fat. It's over
Try
50%
composition is about what, 30%?
It's huge. Okay.
Yeah.
Now here's a patient. Okay, came in today. Now, do you see any problem with the structure there? She's standing up straight. Okay, she's lost her will to live. Okay, because of Alzheimer's. Now, 3 years ago, she fell and developed a loss of, just loss of life, loss of support. Now, do you think that it's appropriate to give somebody a drug, which for type 2 diabetes, if you're not addressing the underlying problem, knowing that type 2 diabetes is a stressor? Now, if you reduce, because the drugs like glycophage, metformin, they'll reduce blood sugar for sure. They really, really will. But insulin remains high, and insulin does the damage to the brain. It does the damage to everything. Okay, then you get cholesterol-lowering drugs, which is insane because cholesterol doesn't clog arteries. When Dr. Tony's talking about the endothelial, it's literally an organ in itself. It's the lining of the arteries. It has so many functions, and people don't think about that. So when we talk about the health of the blood, so how can we get this person better? And it's like, I was talking to some relatives, and they said, well, let's give her healthy nutrients and supplements and everything else. That's only one part of it. And the way I explain it to people is, okay, let's say that I'm standing on both of your feet, okay, and I'm giving you the best goji berry salad in the world. Are you going to get the absorption? No, you can't, because you're in a stress state. You got to look at the three things: the physical, chemical, and emotional stressors. As brilliant as this guy is, and all the research and the supplements, everything else, all the supplements that I've got, I've done the similar research. And I mean, you got to have good stuff in the body. But if you're not correcting the structure, you're not going to get the results. If you're not taking care of the emotional component, you're not going to get the results. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I have patients that take Ativan, they still can't sleep. I mean, that would knock out a horse, but some people just can't sleep because they're so nervous and so scared, and they've also got other stuff going on environmentally in their life. And once you correct that, then everything else just falls into place. So that's where that balance comes in. So the omegas support brain health. That's why you have the EPA and the DHA. Supports cardiovascular health, supports hair, skin, and nails, ease of movement, and supports people who have massive inflammation. I have patients come to me, older patients in particular, and they have terrible discomfort in their legs and their feet. They have discoloration. I said, just try this. Just give it a shot and see how it works for you. I don't make any claims about any of these things. Just give it a shot. They come back to me and said, oh my God, I've never felt better. I have less discomfort in my back. My hair feels better. My skin looks better. And they seem to be aging gracefully as a result of these essential fatty acids. This is why these nutrients are really powerful, because Mother Nature truly has the answers. You know, medicine bottles really don't work around my house anymore. I grew up with medicine bottles everywhere. Our cabinets were filled, back in my native Ireland, filled with medicine bottles. I was hallucinating. I was scared. I thought the boogeyman was coming after me. I saw my father, my brother-in-law back home right now in Ireland. He takes a lot of medications for his heart. My sister said sometimes she wakes up in the middle of the night and he has his hands around her throat from the side effects of the medication. That's hard for me to admit, but I'm admitting that because that's the true story, what I'm telling you. And so the side effects are so high because you can't get well from taking copious amounts of meds. Medicines have their place for sure, but herbal remedies, Mother Nature, God's true creations are the things that work best.
And this is the up and coming epidemic, the dementia, the Alzheimer's. We're looking at a 1-in-1 ratio. Why? Because blood pressure, cholesterol, type 2 diabetes medications, which are no diseases. This is epidemic. So if you've got relatives suffering for it, find a doctor that's going to get them off of those drugs that are really covering up the adaptation, okay? And then high fats. High fats they've used for seizures since the 40s, okay? Healthy fats, healthy omegas. I mean, just get their brain and body moving. And then know that no matter how bad they are, symmetrical movement can stimulate that brain to react. It really can.
And also essential fatty acids, particularly the DHEA for the eyes, is really important. I have an 88-year-old patient. She's watching our broadcast tonight, and she's in Las Vegas. I won't say her name out of privacy, but she said she was on so much medication. I started working with her, and we weaned her off slowly but surely, slowly but surely. She said she's never felt better in her entire life, and she's very cognizant. And this is what essential fatty acids do. They help provide much more cognitive awareness than those of us who just want a prescription morning, noon, and night. If we're over 45 years old in the United States, we're on 4 or 5 medications. So that's broken medicine. That's my next. By the way, I've written 15 books and have a new one coming out called Broken Medicine. And it's exactly about that. If you continue down that path, that's not good health. That's profits for the big pharma.
Yeah, well, we're not really doing our part because the average person over 60 has taken 12 prescriptions.
Right.
I'm over 60 and I'm not taking any.
I'm not taking any.
And you're over 60.
I'm taking coconut water.
Well,
and hydrated.
Thank you, who's ever out there, for taking up my burden of taking the drugs. No,
Yes.
no, it's foolishness. Let's stop this. Okay, now this is, I just got this off of your site, and it's kind of cool because when I'm looking
Can you
at a
send this to me,
supplement,
by the way? It's so great.
no. Okay.
I want to read it again. I got excited. This is our first time doing a talk together.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you look at this, I mean, when you're looking for supplements, you want to look at the source. Okay. You want to look at the source. You want to make sure there's no pesticides. Organic would be amazing, but that's hard to find organic supplements. I mean, we got them. Okay. No pesticides, no chemicals, no solvents, no artificial sweeteners, no excipients. I mean, no heavy metals. That's ideal. So there's a simple formula to get stuff that your body can metabolize. Does that make sense?
It's in a powder form, so it gets into the bloodstream right away. Most supplements that you take, the absorption, the bioavailability, the assimilation is just not there. This is a live whole food, organic. So when you take it, it gets into the bloodstream right away. And also the pH scale goes from 0 to 14. 7.0 is neutral. Anything above 7.0 is alkaline. Anything below is acidic. Most of our diet is acidic. That's why we're crumbling as a nation. This is why our bones are falling apart. This is why our teeth are rattling. This is why we have bloody gums. This is why we're sick. This is why we have a huge issue. So it's time to wake up and take back your health. And today's a great day.
And that's why we've got this, the 5 keys to health. And you can see why I put the same stuff up on each thing, because most diseases aren't diseases. They're adaptations. You need healthy nerve supply, because if you're in a stress state, it ain't going to work. You need exercise, because movement gets your body working. You need appropriate nutrition. And nutrition is, if man makes it, don't eat it. Okay? You need prayer and meditation, and by God, you need sleep. You cannot imagine somebody with cancer or chronic disease, wow, I slept great last night. No, it's not going to happen.
80% of cancer patients. I lost my fiance to cancer. She flew on a private jet around the world with the late Robin Leach. She was on Lifestyles, the Rich and Famous. She was the co-host with Robin. She ate blintzes all the time, which is like Jewish pancakes, morning, noon, and night, just topped with sugar. She had a sign in the house that said, "Keep the kitchen tidy, eat out." but she got ovarian cancer. She got ovarian cancer, was
Oh.
misdiagnosed, and it's just really, really sad. She weighed around 70 pounds, 73 pounds when she died. And I thought to myself, I'm never going to let this happen to another person if I could possibly. So I've had all these things happen in my own life. This is what drives me forward. This is why I do what I do. Spend this blessed evening with you, Dr. Bergman. Thank you. Appreciate you. So I just want to help people take their health back, and you can. A little bit of work, but it's really joyous when you feel good. You don't have to take medication every morning, noon, and night. And you're one leg trailing behind you, and you're not sure whether it's morning or night or morning.
And you can begin at any level. I mean, we have quadriplegics that are doing exercises for breathing. We have paraplegics that are either moving their arms or their legs, whichever one they could use. I mean, at any level of health, you can start, but start now. Just start moving every day, and that's all it requires. Move up to the point of discomfort. Right now, we're going to be leaving the one where the Ministry of Truth will hopefully allow us to do this. How long will the Ministry of Truth let us survive on this? Unknown. But so on Facebook and YouTube, we'll see you later. If you're watching Dr. BVIP, it's going to continue on seamlessly. We're going to actually talk about immune systems, blood, and Voldemort.